The most idiotic moments on paternity court.
Your Honor, he is a snake. He is doing the same thing to
All
me
right,
with my daughter.
All right,
You know, don't even play, don't even go there.
Mr. Wilson, you are not the father.
Told you, I'm not the daddy.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
That's not crazy.
Zariah?
Yeah, she's not my baby. You better go make some phone calls.
It looks like Miss McCrory just can't get enough of paternity court, as she was back, claiming that Mr. Gino Bailey, the defendant's deceased ex-husband, fathered 3-year-old daughter Nevia. However, her lover thinks she was putting back the whole show, just to milk money out of them.
This is the proof of the survival benefits that my daughter.
I'd like to see that.
Well, the
Yeah.
thing is, I believe I have every right to the money. Because if it's he's the father of her, I know 100% he is, and he should support her.
Oh, looks like the plaintiff wasn't hiding her intentions at all. It's about the green, which brought us to the fact that why didn't a Michigan woman get a DNA test before he died? And instead asked for it after just 2 days of his passing. Now that's straight up fishy.
Ms. McCrory, why did you wait?
I didn't wait. When I was with her father, Gino, he actually wanted to take a DNA test, but he wouldn't because of his current girlfriend he was with. She didn't want him involved. He's the father to my child because he's the only one I'm sleeping with. So she has a right to the benefits. He should support her.
He can't support her if he's dead.
Nonetheless, this trial was disconcerting for Miss Mento, as she wasn't able to make peace with the fact that her father may potentially have another child. And a new baby was just disturbing the 19 years of memories of her dad.
I really don't care if she is my sister. I won't have nothing to do with it. Because I had 19 years and I want to remember my father the way he was, being his only little girl.
Yeah.
When I spoke to my father, he told me that it wasn't his. He said there's no possibility she looks nothing like him.
And then you chose to believe your father. That's what
Yes,
you were
I believe
told.
my father.
Further, the defendant added to the trial that making a baby with Mr. Bailey wasn't as much of a piece of cake as he thought, because the guy had a serious medical condition that would lead to miscarriage if baby mama wasn't given some specific shots.
We told her that he had a medical chromosome condition.
Did not.
And she sat right there and called us a liar, that it wasn't true.
Man, the stakes were higher for this one. There's the paternity issue, survivor's benefits involved, and now came the medical condition. That's why the judge asked Ms. McCrory if she was intimate with anyone else during that window of conception. Her take was this.
Were you intimate with anyone else?
No. Up until I was intimate with him from August until November.
Do you remember the night you believe you conceived?
Yes, it was brown sheets with flowers and everything, and we did it like all night long, 3 times.
That I could guarantee.
Well, you know
didn't
what?
do.
You must not know. Maybe you weren't good enough then.
I was married to the.
Okay, hold on.
Further, Mrs. McCrory added that the potential father was a famous male gigolo, and some women claimed to be his baby mamas. Both plaintiffs were portraying the alleged victim as some kind of idiot, but we tend to wait for the result before jumping to any conclusions. Anyway, the defendant refused to play along.
Who do you believe the father is?
I
do
think
you
it's
know?
her husband, Mr. McCrory.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
The whole situation is that my late ex-husband is very dark-featured. I think Nevaeh looks like Mr. McCrory.
Newsflash, I guess it was on the birth certificate of Nevia, Mr. McCrory himself. And now he was standing on the podium claiming otherwise. What are these people full of? I want to see how they will explain this floozy.
You're not his one and only. He said that. I don't want to be involved because my daughter's gonna be 18 now, I have to pay child support, and I don't want to pay again.
I
He
wasn't
had to pay
18.
child support till she was 21 years old.
He said 18 to me.
No, it was 21.
Well, they vouched for that because the real one refused to step up. McCrory took care of the child, and though Mr. Bailey wasn't present, he acknowledged the paternity and often texted to ask about his daughter.
I went to every doctor's appointment. I went to the ultrasounds, and then I was basically with her for the whole pregnancy, which she wasn't. And so I fell in love with that child, and I'm gonna be with her for the rest of my life and get married to her, so why not take responsibility for somebody who couldn't?
We often hear people say that they were just doing the right thing, but now situations demand amends, which isn't always true. Because this couple portrayed their true intention with their disrespectful comment on the memorial page of Mr. Bailey.
From the McCrorys, listen, you're not daddy's only little girl. News flash.
We've had
And a message that said, don't worry, you'll meet daddy's girl soon. Hope you're a good big sister. Why would you put this up on the memorial?
I can't wait for her to meet her sister.
No,
you know,
why
I
don't
want
you-
other
why don't
people
you
to
say
know
the
that.
truth?
No, this did not have a good intention.
The judge was not liking the cheap blows this family was pulling off. They were just trying to get back at the defendant and now testified their fake good intentions, trying to feed lies to Judge Lake, which is not a good idea at all. Trust me.
When you know good and well you had no good intention behind sending that. Just say, we've been on a Facebook social media war and I wanted to get back at them. I might not like it, but at least I know it's not a lie.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm done with this. Ron, give me the results.
I'm done with these two. They're just clowning here and wasting everyone's time. Who thinks of using children as pawns to get what they want? I hope the result shows what they were claiming. If not, all of this is gonna be embarrassing.
Nevaeh McCrory and Sierra Marie Mento are not related.
Yes.
Told you.
Yes, told you.
Now we're both even.
Fake profiles, fake. Everybody was fake. This was all just a despicable mess. Oh man, the woman didn't even flinch at the resistance. It's like she knew that this was coming. Now, this just calls for some good old-fashioned schooling.
Why don't you look surprised? I read the result, and honey, you just flipped that page right on to the next and went to arguing over it, Miss Smith. You testified here for a good 30 minutes of my time that there was no other possible father in the world.
Mr. Wilson here was adamant about not being Zariah and Nyana's father, because he knows that his trophy wife can't remain faithful to one man for too long. However, the mommy, on the other hand, was just disgusted by such accusations. But I'll get to that part later on.
At the time she had the baby, she was a liar, cheating all the time, had multiple guys running out of the house. All on the internet. I mean, you know, go to the apartment, everybody talking about who she messing with.
So you say these kids aren't yours?
No, they're not mine.
Quite an allegation, aren't they? And the baby mama testified against them. She already had 2 other kids with the guy at the podium, and no other potential father made sense to her.
There's a significant age difference between you, Mr.
Yeah.
Wilson, and Ms. Butler. You are 48, she is 25.
Age don't make you a
Jerome, write that down for me. We're gonna remember that.
Age difference, I don't know about Jerome, but I'm definitely writing that down. Firstly, coming to the Zariah conception. The plaintiff told the court that he found another man's text messages in his wife's phone, who looked just like a baby girl.
We did try to have sex a couple of times, but
How can you try to have sex?
we try to use the little condom, but we stopped and it didn't happen. Like, he never or anything.
There was actual sexual contact,
Yeah.
but he didn't finish the act.
Yeah, because I end up stopping.
Even after that incident, Mr. Wilson gave Miss Butler a chance. The baby mama ended up conceiving her 3rd child, but the sugar daddy was sure that the baby had nothing to do with him.
I didn't have my phone at the hospital, so I would have definitely had called him.
Oh, he wasn't even there.
No, ma'am.
Because my
That's another
phone,
situation.
I didn't have my phone around that time.
You were in a relationship and you went to the hospital and had the baby without even letting him know?
Didn't let me know.
Wow, first he claims that he's the father, and then he goes and does a thing like that. This made the alleged think that another guy was present at the time of birth, and now, when he refused to step up, the defendant thought of pinning the baby on him.
You didn't have your phone. There was no one there with you with a phone? No one came to the hospital with you at all?
No, really, I was really the only one up there.
And so you couldn't tell a nurse or anybody to call him?
I mean, it wasn't on my mind.
Because I wasn't a dad.
Another shocker was that even though the plaintiff had signed the birth certificate, Miss Butler had changed it back to her last name because of the constant denial from baby daddy.
Because
Butler.
you've been denying the baby, that's why.
When he says, but you have sex with other people too, you don't deny that. You just say, I have sex with you, that you guys have sex all the time. You understand that it really just takes one time.
Even after agreeing with all the allegations thrown at her and other guys in the paternity mix, the young mama was stuck up on the fact that there was no way any other guy could be the father of her child.
No.
The kids is his though. I'm not thinking that.
You wouldn't have
the
a clue.
kids is his, so there's no other possible
Wouldn't have a
father.
clue.
No. The kids is his.
So if Zariah is not your biological child,
I'm gonna be sad because that's a wonderful little child and she shouldn't be put through that. What she going through with her mother.
Yeah, it'll be really sad if the results turn out otherwise, because we know that it's mama's baby and papa's maybe. Sometimes women in paternity court have to learn the hard way. Fingers crossed.
Mr. Wilson, you are not the father.
Told you. I'm not the daddy.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
That's not crazy.
Zariah?
Yeah, she's not my baby. You better go make some phone calls.
What is this woman high on? Like, come on! Anyway, the judge ever patiently went through the same rodeo for the second child, and the baby mama had the same record playing.
We always had sex without no condom. So that's why I don't understand. But Nyana's definitely yours though.
I'm disappointed, Miss Butler. I really am. You a mother.
No, she's not.
During this baby's conception, men were hiding in the bathroom, and Miss Butler's money was being stolen magically, and this made the judge go ballistic. Being old enough and still putting up with sloppy antics and making babies.
This is all during when Nyana was conceived.
Yeah.
You got all that going on?
Yeah, she got all
hiding
that
men in the
going on.
bathroom and
Hiding
men
in
being
the
over there and
bathroom.
stealing the money, and every time you go over there, you still having sex with her. Now you old enough to know I don't know what you doing.
Finally, the grown-up is owning up to something and not blaming the baby mama for once. Anyway, this all was going on for too long. It was about time that we concluded. I mean, do the result for the second time.
Mr. Wilson, you are the father.
The same rodeo was up and running in this case, as Mr. Scott appeared in Judge Lake's court to seek her help to uphold his reputation. He claimed that multiple women tried to pin their babies on him, and DNA results would prove that Miss Crane was also one of those scammers.
Mr. Scott, you say you are appearing in court today to clear your name.
Yes, Your Honor.
Defendant have dragged your reputation through the mud, claiming you are the father of their children. You have requested a paternity test to prove that the defendant's 3-year-old son, Jalen, is not yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
However, the baby mama has her own set of allegations lined up. She claimed that the potential father was nothing more than a fraud who trapped her into having his baby while he was married to someone else.
Now, Ms. Crane, you say you were always faithful to Mr. Scott and that Jalen is definitely his son. You argue Mr. Scott is the one who cheated and claimed that during your pregnancy, you
true.
found out he was a married
Not true at all.
man.
She's been,
Yes,
she's
Your
been
Honor.
cheating the whole time.
Never.
It was revealed that both parties had their deceiving hats on, yet no one was willing to back off. The defendant spilled the beans of truth and claimed that Mr. Scott had been married for 9 years, but the plaintiff put on his armor like this.
I've been divorced since December 9th, 2009.
How did you discover?
Your Honor, I was 7 months pregnant. I didn't know where Marcel was. He used my phone one time. He deleted all his calls, so I went back on the internet, went back to the research, called all the numbers he called, and found out he was married for 9 years.
That's true, I was married, but I've been divorced since December 2009.
So the woman said that when she confronted the man, she and his wife spat on the call. His spouse told her to get the baby aborted. Oh my! Why did people stoop so low?
The lady was like, who is this calling from Marcel? I said, well, I'm his baby mama. He's like, well, how was that when I'm married for 9 years with him and he's right here? So Marcel hopped on the phone, cussed me out for calling. Then the lady
That's
was
true.
like,
True.
well, this is my husband, so she told me to get an abortion. So he was like, no, that's my son, and I'm never gonna have her give an abortion.
It seemed Mr. Scott was caught up in his web of lies. He managed to wipe Miss Crane's accusations and alleged that she brought his ex-wife's cousin into the picture. His doubts were on point.
When you want to talk about tattoos, what about the dude's name tattooed on your body?
What
that
about
you said
it?
it was your brother.
And?
But then come to find it's another dude that's holding the baby. I don't know if she still has it, but what she just told me recently that she had it covered up, she has not 1, not 2, not 3, but 3 dudes' name tattooed
No,
on
Your
her.
Honor, I had one, and that was my ex-boyfriend for 5 years.
Wow, first messing around, then dating his ex-wife's cousin. Up next, it slipped that Mommy was the perpetrator behind all the doubts, as her sex life had been giving him the red flag like this.
She sees my ex-wife. They said, that's what they told me, that she put the cover over the baby's head so nobody could see the baby. And they asked, is that Marcel's baby? She said, nah. And then, so she had to explain.
No, Your Honor.
She had to
Actually,
explain
what
to the
happened
dude.
was
Let me talk.
the
Let me talk.
sister was
Let me
telling
talk.
me that that wasn't his baby, so I covered my son up.
Oh my! Miss Crane disclosed that the bombshell dropped on her at the clinic when she found out the man impregnated her and his ex-wife at the same time. But the dad did not let the mom play, and started squabbling with her.
Were you pregnant
Never.
when you found out?
Yeah, I was 7 months pregnant. And at the doctor's
She didn't even
appointment,
have
I
a
seen
car.
his wife, and she was pregnant at the same time.
I thought you
But they
were
wasn't-
divorced
they
in
wasn't together, though.
2009.
Yeah, but we were separated though. We were separated.
And then,
We've
Your
been
Honor-
divorced, but we were separated.
Wait a
Me and her
minute.
wasn't
You were
together.
divorced?
During their back and forth bickering, it slipped that the defendant changed her mind and told Mr. Scott that he was not the father of her son and did not even put his name on the birth certificate. So, you know you can't unring that bell you rang before.
My son's life in 3 years. Wanna know why?
Because of
inconsistency.
him.
It's
No.
inconsistency. She won't
Inconsistency
let
with
me
him.
be there. She knew this was my baby. If she knew this was my baby, she's 100% sure. Then how come you didn't put my name on the birth certificate?
Your Honor, why
he
would
doesn't
I
have
put
my
his name on
last
the birth
name?
certificate?
Why
He's
he
been
don't have
married
my
for
last
9
name?
years.
All my kids. I got 9 kids. I have 6 kids, and I take care of all my kids.
Finally, Judge Lauren summoned witnesses to square things off. But instead, she entered shouting to her vocal cords in rage, like he was a bonehead to her. Uh-oh, seemed like Mr. Scott's gonna have some huge trouble.
Your Honor, he is a snake. He is doing the same thing to
All
me
right,
with my
now.
daughter.
All right,
For real.
kid.
You know, don't even blame
Kid.
don't even go there.
Let's get some order. Have a seat, Mr. Collins.
Don't go there.
It's gotta be
All
what
right,
you did, baby mama.
all right.
Hey, I take care of my kids.
Thank
man.
you for
Yeah, I'm
doing
glad.
Listen,
Oh, and that's for you.
let's get some order.
However, it was evident that a new problem had been raised for the mister, and probably he would have to come back again, as Miss Calhoun claimed him as the father of her daughter as well, and was also demanding a DNA test.
Oh, he's my daughter's father too. My daughter's 4 months old.
That's your
4
10th
months
kid,
old.
right?
4 months old.
Hey, do the math, man.
10 kids.
Our
math.
kids look just alike.
I communicate with her
It's
good. There's no
messy.
problem with her. You just
You
can't
know
stay
why
off
I
the phone.
got
I'm done with
Let's
this case.
get some
I'm
order.
done with this case,
Then
man.
shut up.
Nevertheless, it was clear that the witness's testimony flared up the situation as she brought another case for Judge Lauren Lake, and things went to and fro, swinging in between. So, it was time to pop up this paternity issue.
Mr. Scott, you are the father.
Thank you.
You seem happy,
Oh, yeah, I'm very happy.
and I'm glad.
Very happy. Can I apologize to her? I
You
apologize
okay,
to
Miss
you
Crane?
for my assumptions. I will be there for him. I promise you. We live 10 minutes away.
Ladies, you guys want to hear the case?
Let's get some order. Mr. Wallace,
You sitting up here, you taking her sack.
on.
You ain't even let me get a word in.
Stand up. Jerome, just give him a minute. Give him a minute.
Go out here.
Miss Austin is back with the same dilemma again. Yeah, if Mr. Wallace is the father of her child. Just so you know, she's doing it for the 3rd time for the same man who chooses to stand at the podium with his side chick and blame baby mama for not being faithful. Sure, if you want to play like that, sir.
Ranielle Wallace was still bouncing back from me and Kendrelyn. I had enrolled in school, but I never did go because I had got pregnant once again with Ranielle. And she got pregnant with her baby, with her son. And as you can see now, once again, I'm pregnant again with my 3rd baby.
Mr. Wallace stood persistent that he did not father the 9-month-old Ronell, but he said the same thing last time. Yada yada, I'm not the father, mother is pernicious. Let's take a quick look at how things went down back then.
She has about 6 boyfriends like you. Don't come on here and try to act like
Hold on,
you
Mr.
so perfect.
Wallace. You're not going to address a woman in this court that way. You better pipe yourself down.
Don't flip people off. You don't use profanity in my courtroom. You understand me?
No.
You want to go out of here?
Yeah.
Mr. Wallace, get out the court. You
What are you gonna do
sorrier
about
than
it?
I thought you
Let's
were.
go.
Get
We're going
out the courtroom, Mr. Wallace.
You saw how violent this man can be when things don't go his way. But anyway, back to the hearing. Things had shifted. Well, for the women here, but Daddy was on the same back and forth ride between the two. So the judge went on and asked the defendant his doubt.
She's very promiscuous. When we was together, I had installed, it was like spyware on her phone. They would duplicate her text messages and call log and send a copy to my email. For about the 5th, 6th time, I called her texting different men.
Well, where your proof at?
You saying that didn't happen?
Where your proof at?
All of the accusations were a little hard for the plaintiff to digest because all the things allegedly being blamed on the girl was actually his game. Like, come on, why stoop that low? And you can imagine how Miss Austin reacted to it.
We are going to speak to women respectfully in the courtroom. So you believe she was sleeping around?
If I'm dead, so why you keep on sleeping with me? Why? 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 I'm pregnant again. Why?
Yeah, why go for such a person, Mr. Honorable? Well, apparently, he had no explanation for it. All of this mess was because of him, and when the plaintiff pointed this out, it ticked the girlfriend off, and she went ballistic like this.
You got low
Ladies, you guys want to hear the case?
Let's get some order.
Yeesh, people, this is a courtroom, not your backyard. You can't just wrangle each other like that. But anyway, next up, it got revealed that baby mama was talking to other men, but she claimed that she didn't fool around. It was just harmless conversations, and she was doing it out of spite.
Trying to get back to Aunt Ranielle for the things that he has done to me.
At the end of the day, you all can see now that 2 wrongs never make a right. They make more wrong. And then you were wrong for being pregnant and talking to other men and expecting him to then believe your child is his child automatically.
Yeah, breach, Judge. These kids need some good schooling. This is just a classic case of babies having babies. And while she was at it, newsflash, baby daddy thinks he can fool around, but his woman can't, so he was putting them through such turmoil.
It's because I moved in because of Ranielle. Because of Ranielle. Ranielle left me to go be with Mr. Robert. He don't care. It's all about him, and he doesn't care, and I'm done. Like, what more can I put into this?
That's false.
Wow. What more can anyone do indeed to keep a man? Alas, Mr. Wallace had no sympathy for his baby mama. In his words, she was just putting on a show, which made the judge say, what were they thinking? Why are you with this guy anyway?
I see a young woman here that desperately is trying to have a relationship with somebody that
doesn't want me.
Ms.
Everything
Austin,
she told you
I
was
don't
a lie.
even know if he doesn't. It's not that he don't want you or he don't want Miss Roberts. Mr. Wallace hasn't grown enough where he can be in a position to want anybody or to truly commit to anybody.
Even after that, Miss Austin wished that the guy at the podium was the baby daddy. More like she was sure. Well, was pretty brave, I'd say. And all the admiration she was getting rubbed Mr. Wallace really hard. And he went like this.
Mr. Wallace!
You sitting up here, you taking her
Come on!
You ain't even let me get a word in.
Stand up. Jerome, just give him a minute. Give him a minute.
Go out here and sit.
Talk about going crazy. But screaming and yelling doesn't prove anything. And it hits the defendant after a while. So he was back in the courtroom to push his side. However, now it was time to push that envelope cover.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Wallace, you are Ronell's father.
Daughters against their own mother? Yep, promiscuous pasts and paternity voids can drive people to all desperate actions. And that's why Williams sisters are in paternity court, to get things even.
Tell me about the paternity issues.
It was this man who was supposedly had been my father, and we were all wanting to know, like his family, him, my aunt that raised me and Jasmine, we wanted the paternity test. We were all there and ready. She never showed up.
But mommy at the podium refused to be portrayed as the villain by her own children. She straight up ruled out her daughters as wire pullers like herself. However, she was interrupted by her oldest, who told the court how she found that her alleged father was not her daddy, and her other sisters backed her up.
When I was about 17 years old, me and her had an argument, and she said, that's why he's not your father. Trying to hit at a low point. Always been something, always eating at me, not knowing who my father was. Not knowing who my father was. I feel like at least if she was there, to try to take the place of my father, having a mother at least, maybe it wouldn't have bothered me so much.
Younger Williams told the court how they were neglected not only by their parents, but also by both sides of the family. This was not just it. Further, it got revealed that still different men came up and claimed to be their fathers, while her mother refuses to recognize them.
This is the saddest thing, Your Honor. After I had my son was 3 months. We go to the gas station. A man notices my mother, but she does not notice him. He calls out her name. Who are you? He's talking about some, so you don't know who I am. Talking about some, I don't know you. Talking about some, yes you do. She's talking about some, oh, Lisa, they're your daddy. How is you not gonna know this is my daddy when you look at him? But you tell me, that's your daddy.
Well, Miss Liddell thought it was a good excuse. Nevertheless, plaintiffs were taking none of it. They straight up blamed their mother for the alienated treatment they had throughout their childhood. I mean, they had to move through 5 houses, and this had raised animosity between them.
Yeah, what would I
She
gonna
didn't
do
try.
for you?
I have
What
the
nothing
one
I could do for y'all?
You didn't try.
Yes, sir. When I did try, when I did. No, you did. When I did y'all love me, when I can do something for y'all, then y'all always, then y'all stab me in the back.
Ladies, let's get some order, ladies.
Wow, such pain and bitterness. their dynamic lacks very maternal warmth. And the biggest twinge was that Miss Liddell had no idea who their father might be. This means they can't even get anyone tested for paternity. And she had this explanation for it.
I did me. I ran the streets. Okay, you can keep your slab remarks. I was hoarse. I didn't care about nobody or nothing.
But can you help them figure this out? You say you don't know if James is their father.
Yes,
Do you know who are the other people that could possibly be their father?
I have a couple of people in mind. Like I said, I ran the streets, so I laid down with anybody.
Well, they had only one man for a paternity test in this hearing, James, the alleged father of the three. However, Mommy wasn't rooting for anything, because she wasn't sure if Mr. Williams was the father of any of them, and neither now was he.
You believe you are these young girls' biological father. Do you believe that?
Deep in my heart, Your Honor, and I hate to say it, and it's hurting me to say it too, but no, I do not.
You don't act like it, so it shouldn't be hurting you.
The potential father testified that when he met the defendant, she was very fast, and he always had paternity doubt. Well, sir, if you had any, instead of ignoring them, you should have gone for a test, right? As all of his neglect had ruined these girls.
Never had that father to show you this is what love is. This is how a man's supposed to treat you. We never had that.
Mr. Williams is here and he knows he's been absent. How has it affected you specifically?
He don't even have no kind of relationship with me. Don't try. I'm reaching out to you. I'm the child in this case.
The judge could clearly see that the mother's wrong choices had messed these girls up, and they were not ready to give their mother any sympathy. And the defendant's words were just making things worse.
Whatever come out my mouth is like a lot of them, even if I mean it.
Because it always is a lie.
Sometimes I just don't know how. I don't know how. I don't know how.
Let's get some order.
The broken family was at the mercy of the DNA result because no one was ready to cut each other any slack. With respect and love out of the equation, the only truth is what binds people. Let's get to that.
When it comes to Ms. Jasmine Williams, Mr. Williams, you are her father. When it comes to Ms. Lisa Williams, Mr. Williams, you are not her father.
The moment you step into the cheating revenge game, you and your child lose. This lesson is hard to learn sometimes, and a paternity court is often a place for it. And Miss Funzy is up for such an encounter with Judge Lake.
My family's on the line. I love Jordan. We've been dating going on 7 years. Been dating since the 10th grade. And the denying that he has towards my 1-month-old child, Joaquin, which we plan to have together, is causing problems with our relationship.
Mr. Irving told the court he found out about the cheating part just weeks before the pregnancy, and he was sure that the child wasn't his. The plaintiff found such remarks very cold, but he responded like this.
She did that to herself.
You say she did it to herself?
She cheated.
How did you find out she cheated?
One day I couldn't sleep, so here it is 4 in the morning. I seen her sleeping and her phone was right beside her. Some told me she spent the night at her friend's house with this other guy.
She always going out with her friends. He could never
go out with his friends too also. Yes, he do. Yes, he do.
After this, Judge stepped out. It turns out that baby mama used her friend's place for her illicit affair, though she testified doing it to get back at the defendant. But things were not that simple.
Mr. Irvin had never looked at the phone. If something didn't tell him, would you have told him about the cheating?
Yes, I was gonna come clean to him at the right time.
When was the right time?
Because he came to me when he had told me he cheated, and I would feel like I should come to him because I cheated.
Quite a tit for tat they had going. But guess what? There's a baby at stake now. And the worst part was that Miss Funzy ruined her own pregnancy report. No, we're not kidding. Watch for yourself.
She scribbled over it and wrote what she wanted on the paperwork.
What was on the line that talked about how many weeks along?
I couldn't tell because she wrote over it.
What was written over it?
Just like a scribble.
A scribble of what?
I couldn't tell what number it was.
So you can't even read what was written over it?
No, ma'am.
I had doubts like why I can't understand the right.
Still, the guy at the podium went to the length of stepping up for the child. He was there for the whole pregnancy and even signed the birth certificate. Though we admire him, still not a good decision.
I truly understand your sentiment and that it comes from a good place. You do understand that that's a bad decision when you have paternity doubt.
If you got doubt, don't sign that birth certificate because whether that's your child or not, you're gonna have, that's acknowledging, hey, I'm gonna be there for this child for 18 years. That's my child.
Yes, it is.
So what about the other guy? Was he ready to fill in the daddy box? No, not at all. He had made a statement sent to the court, and this statement picked some messy skeletons in the closet.
He told me about the things that was going on between her and Jordan. First time me and her had sex, she came over and saw me. We had sex in Jordan's car.
That's a lie.
Did use
Somebody made a fake
protection.
page. That's a lie.
You said
Jordan, that's a lie. You know that.
Hold on,
You said that.
finish the
No.
statement.
Mine ain't lying.
Jordan.
Why is you lying to me?
Jordan, I'm not lying to you.
Man, if this not my baby, I'm through with this relationship.
That's fine. That's fine.
Miss Funzy ruled this statement as false, but the expression reflected that there was some truth to it. The defendant, on the other hand, went off the wall listening to them. And I mean, come on, would you blame the guy?
I worked at a school. I let her use my daddy's car every day. My daddy just died. And I let you keep my car every day while I go to work. And this what you did?
Jordan.
Why is you lying to me?
Jordan, I'm not lying to you.
Next, the judge counted back the birth of the child, which made things even harder. Now it was time to get to the truth. So when the judge implored the baby mama to confess, she testified about trying to fool Mr. Irving and his family. And that bugged the judge hard.
Tit for tat, sexual revenge. We don't win that game. And we do this tit for tat thing and we lose because we end up pregnant. And this can't all be for revenge. I mean, we can't be here with a 1-month-old baby, beautiful, innocent baby whose paternity is in question. Was the revenge worth this?
No.
Wow, it was quite painful to watch such a revelation. But the truth had to come out. We did feel bad for the baby and his mama. But nonetheless, when you try to fight fire with fire, you're only gonna get burned. Let's just get to that result.
The biological father is Winfield.
I know what I told you. I knew it wasn't his baby. When
hold
mama
on.
went to the hospital and
Miss
seen that
Irving.
baby, she knew it. A
Miss
mother
Irving.
know they
Calm
child.
down.
A mother know they child. My mama went to the hospital when she had that baby and said, that is not my son's child.
Life turned upside down when Mr. Bell dropped a bombshell after 18 years asserting that Miss Other is not his biological daughter. Determined to establish her parentage, she brought her father to court for a compact proof of her lineage. However, the defendant countered with lunatic allegations that Miss Mary had bamboozled him.
Mr. Bell, you say you're sorry this hurts Ms. Others, but you may not be her father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You state that the plaintiff's mother fraudulently claimed you fathered another one of her children, and now you believe she's lying again.
Yes, Your Honor.
So the trial had a dramatic start. It turned out that mother has already tried to trap him in paternity mess, and when he believed her, it turned out the baby was not his. I must say, if that's the case, then the defendant is on point.
My daughter was about 2 years old and she wound up pregnant. So of course I'm being excited. When the baby is finally born, my sister and I go by to see my daughter and the new baby. There's a doorbell. She never answered it. And I'm like, are you gonna answer the door? And she was like, well, no, I'm not gonna answer it. Long story short, this other gentleman comes in saying that he was the father, and she's also telling me that I'm the father as well.
Dramatically, it was revealed that he doubts paternity and he wants a DNA test. But the young girl revealed that even for 18 years, he did not deny, but he still has not been there for her. So he's nothing but a deadbeat father after all.
I was at McDonald's and he met me up at McDonald's. That's when he said he wants a paternity test. And I agreed to it, but it never happened.
But wait, you up at McDonald's when you just up there like a normal teenager, and here comes your father, and he drives up to you or comes sees you and says, hey, I just want a paternity test?
Yeah.
What did you think?
I was really hurt, but at the end of the day, he hasn't been there for me.
However, when the judge asked the supposed father about the false incident played by him, he put on a clown mask and pretended as if he'd just lost his memory at that moment. But someone please remind him, Judge Lake is in front of him.
Mr. Bell, if you forget a fact like that, your credibility is shot.
That wasn't the topic of conversation when I met her at McDonald's. When we did talk about it, it was not at McDonald's. We all decided that it was going to happen.
You were together before, and you felt like it was a family conversation.
To clear things up, Miss Mary stepped up to the podium and alleged that Mr. Bell was already aware that there was a possibility of the other guy being the father. But he didn't let those statements approach him like this.
He also knew that there was a possibility that there was another man involved.
That is not true.
Yes, it
That
is,
is
Your
not
Honor.
true.
When both men
That's
were
why-
at the house after the baby was born, it was no big thing to you because you had already told both
I
of them.
told both of them, and that's why I got the paternity test done.
She's a
Because I
compulsive liar, Your
wasn't.
Honor.
Okay, so when Judge Lauren asked the granny about what type of relationship she had with Miss Tiana, it revealed that she has no relationship with her. Further, she made some serious allegations against Miss Mary, but Mommy defended them like that.
All I know is that I tried to bond with the baby, with the little boy, when I found out that he wasn't my
my grandson.
I was very devastated.
Her mother could be lying again.
Yes, most definitely. Because she is a
Your
liar.
Honor. I'm not lying.
What about 4 kids, 4 baby daddy?
That doesn't make me a bad person.
I didn't say you were bad, I said you were a liar.
The defendant revealed that she went to see her, and the bombshell exploded on him that her daughter was pregnant, and she approached him for money after having a baby. But the drama flares up when Mr. Bell claims that Miss Other called her and said her daughter is just using him.
She came to my job with my grandbaby and asked me for more money. I gave her the money. Her mother calls me and said, why did you give her money? She's doing nothing but using you for your money.
That's not true, Your Honor.
If you
That's
were
not true.
You're lying.
That is not true.
Lie.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Now she's following in her mother's footsteps.
As it is manifest that a child's upbringing is the most basic and vehement right, in this episode, we can see that this young woman has no respect for her elders. And all of this might be due to the toxic situation she's been in. So whatever happened in their trial, Judge Lauren concluded it like that.
You have no respect for your elders. In my world, back in the day, what we call it is home training. I know maybe you are disappointed. Maybe they haven't treated you the way you think they should have treated you and your daughter. When your daughter stands and speaks to an older woman like she does, and you don't correct her, that's wrong.
However, their to and fro allegations were all over and made things more complicated for the girl. And the parents were busy in their dispute, so the last hope to get closure was to reveal whatever was hiding in the DNA envelope. So let's find that out.
In the case of Others versus Bell, as it pertains to 18-year-old Tiana, Mr. Bell, you are not.
I knew it!
Tiana's father.
Thank you! I knew it! I knew it! Told you! He's a liar, no good liar.
And I know who the daddy
told
is.
you.
Because at the end of the day, you can't make the baby without the mother.
Right.
But the mother can always have had sex with more than one man, which is what you did. Who cares? This is just getting ridiculous. If you all would have just stayed on Facebook instead of laying down in the bed with no protection, we wouldn't be here.
Mr. Adel took swinging from the park into his married life, and this has left the couple in paternity doubt about their baby girl. I know people are getting sort of nasty things, and their children are paying for their mistakes.
She broke the terms of the relationship.
We have certain rules. We're swingers. She went outside of the relationship, she cheated on me, and now she's trying to pin the baby on me.
What are the terms?
You don't go outside of the relationship and have sexual relations with anyone outside of the relationship unless the other one is present.
Yeah, these swingers have broken their own rules, as the wifey slept with some man without her husband's consent. But in Joan's defense, she did it out of spite. And guess what? The baby mama had no remorse over it.
A picture of Mr. Adel in the bed with somebody else, your bed?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's why you cheated, because you saw that picture, so then you went out and did it.
Absolutely.
Now we know 2 wrongs never make a right.
Yes, and the drama is about to get messier, because Mr. Adel told the court how he got into a relationship with his wife and convinced her of swinging. The woman had no idea what she had gotten into getting married to the defendant. But the husband was a habitual swinger, so he persuaded the defendant to play along.
Why would you want to sleep with somebody else other than your loved one?
That's what I'm thinking.
It's exciting.
But I gave it a chance because I loved him.
So the first time you all have this threesome, what happened? I mean, I know what happens, I guess, but...
After this, Judge was told the uncomfortable tale of how Mr. Adel had created a whole ad to recruit another swinger. His first choice was to add a guy. After going through a couple of contenders, they landed a match. Nonetheless, Miss Jones wasn't into the idea. She was just playing along. So, right after the first run, the woman gave up.
It's exciting.
But I gave it a chance because I loved him.
If you love somebody, how do you bring yourself to want to see somebody else have sex with them? I've taken this way too far. I truly want to know, what is it?
The judge was as baffled as us, processing the thought process behind Mr. Adel for being so desperate. Well, he just wanted to spice things up. But then, why come to paternity court when you called for such stepping out? It turned out that this was about Mr. Jones sleeping with her husband's friend.
I turned around and went out with one of his friends, had a couple drinks, and one thing led to the next. We used the condom, I remember, and when I told him there may not be a possibility, I was trying to get under his skin.
But you didn't mean it.
Clearly, Miss Jones was driven to this infidelity by her own husband, and now it was hard to figure out if he was mad about the cheating or just about the possibility of the baby girl not being his. On the contrary, we knew what jacked him up.
Karma is very interesting.
And I find it to be so on point that you would have a baby
We
girl.
always tell each other, you know, this is God paying us back.
Yes.
What we've
Yes,
done.
it is. The only swinging you need to be doing is at the park with your baby.
Nonetheless, the stakes were high for the parents and the baby girl, as the alleged daddy wanted DNA to rule him as the father, while mommy was adamant about Mr. Adel being the father. However, if the results said otherwise, their marriage was over.
I distance myself. I don't want to build any more of a relationship if I'm not the father. You know, the real father needs to be in building a relationship.
You are the real.
Miss Jones even provided a conception calendar claiming her husband was the father, which was not convincing enough for her partner because he believed his trust was breached. So, DNA proof was the only solution for him.
One night with his friend, we had sex every night, unprotected. All the way into September, he thought I was pregnant.
The month of conception would be in August.
Yes.
That's when she was conceived. Mr. Adel, you are the father.
Told you.
Miss Grimes isn't sure why her boyfriend has dragged her to paternity court, even though there's no doubt that Mr. Davis is the father. But the alleged daddy believes otherwise, even though he stated his reason for asking the test.
She is a real good liar. She lies all the
Quit
time
lying.
about everything.
Specifically, what did you find?
I found her telling another man that it might have been his baby.
Okay, why is a woman ignoring the whole potential father from the picture? According to the defendant, Grimes was a compulsive liar who thinks that she gets away with anything. Believe it or not, baby mama had 2 more men believing that they were the father.
You were cheating because he was cheating too?
Yeah, I mean, I was cheated. I cheated one time.
Because he was cheating?
Yeah, to get back at him.
So when you saw these messages, Mr. Davis, what was your reaction?
I got mad at first. I wanted to confront her about it, and she basically just told me she was lying to them.
Oh, so she was lying to another man too? And why are you doing so? Well, because the defendant had broken up with her, so she didn't want to be alone. That's why her best bet was to lure other men with baby news.
She was telling one that it was his baby and telling the other one she didn't know who baby it was, so I assumed it could have been his too.
Miss Grimes, what were you running around here doing?
My ex, he was nobody. I didn't mess with him or nothing. I just didn't want to be alone.
You're not gonna tell a man you hadn't slept with that
I didn't tell him he was the father.
Who?
The one that I hadn't slept with. I just told him I didn't know who was the father.
Man, this is just too much confusion. Let's just skip to the pregnancy part. Mr. Davis had been playing the daddy all along. He was there for the birth, but when the baby came out, it changed everything, as the boy looked nothing like him.
You signed the birth certificate.
No.
You don't?
No, I wasn't sure.
That's the right thing to do when you aren't sure.
I can't trust her word.
And so meanwhile, you've just had a baby, Miss Grimes.
Yes.
Father is saying now, I don't believe.
Yes.
Whatever happened to this ex?
This brought up the topic of the ex involved in the situation. The guy was inevitable and not going anywhere because he wasn't just the plaintiff's best friend, but also the baby daddy of her first son. And now, also the potential father of her second child.
I need you because I cheated on Anthony with you, and it's possible James is yours. I got pregnant with James around the same time we blanked.
It was possible. I didn't say he was his, though. Them weren't my words. James was yours, did not come out my mouth.
So, screenshots proved what game Miss Grimes was playing. Still, she decided to act coy, but the judge was not ready to buy it. That's why she decided to call in the other father, who was also firm in his faith in being the father. Well, can you blame the guy?
You don't know either, but
No,
you
I don't
believe
know.
he is your child.
You
have an older child together, am I correct?
Yes, we do.
You all have obviously kept an ongoing sexual relationship.
Yeah, something like that. Not for real, but something like that.
You either have sex or you don't. I don't know.
We do, but we don't. Me and Jelani got a friendship.
However, for baby mama, their dynamic was just nothing, as they were friends who messed with each other when they were single. Though this time, Grimes missed that she cheated on her boyfriend with her ex, and now there was a baby in question. The woman had no idea what she'd gotten herself into.
And he's single, then y'all mingle.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how it happened.
When you got pregnant, you told Mr. Davis that it was his child.
Yes.
So, the gist of the situation was that the woman was with both men around the same time. And like most of the ladies who appear in paternity court, she had made her pick, and it was driving her testimony in front of Lake. When the judge confronted Miss Grimes about it, baby mama confessed that she wanted the defendant to be the baby daddy.
I want him to be yours. She even told me that, she would rather for me to be
she's
the
told
father.
you she wants the child to be yours.
Yeah,
I didn't say that.
She told me that a couple times. It's just facts.
I didn't say that. I want the child to be yours.
To be honest,
You
I'm
don't
gonna
take
be
care of your first child. Why would I want that one to be yours?
Anyone can tell that playing games and trying to have it your way had gotten out of hand of the plaintiff. Even Judge Loring couldn't help but knock some sense into the young baby mama. And when Judge Schooling hits, Lakes rocks hard.
Sexual behaviors, relationships, they're on trial. That's really what it is. Because at the end of the day, you can't make a baby without a mother.
You can't make a baby without a man neither.
You can't make the baby without the mother.
Right.
But the mother can always have had sex with more than one man, which is what you did. Hence the phrase, mama's baby, daddy's maybe. Yep.
The truth session made Miss Grimes realize that it was not about more babies, and both men in the courtroom had relevant reasons to ask for DNA tests. And we all know when affairs are out, the judge calls for the envelope.
The biological father is Mr. Davis.
So I wasn't lying.
Miss Hensley's constant cheating and bouncing between different men had strained her relationship to the extent of her fiancé disowning her daughter and refusing to marry her. And now, the only option to save the relationships is some hard DNA facts.
The relationship on a line because I love being with her, but it's making me have more doubts as time goes on because I keep finding more and more cases.
So it has eroded the trust.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you don't really have a foundation.
No, Your Honor.
Because at this point, you don't believe anything she said.
Miss Hensley's words have lost their credibility, and now her house was a resting place of stress and awkwardness, as even after canceling the wedding, the couple was living together, and the baby accepted that it was her fault.
Mr. Jenkins, how have you caught Miss Hensley cheating?
There arose one time when we were first together for 4 weeks. We worked at the same location, and I happened to text her, and she was going to come over and spend the night. Well, she ended up messaging me saying, "Hey, I'm staying late until 2 a.m. At midnight is when she was supposed to get off."
You heard the man. The woman was to come join him, but she stayed at work late. When the boyfriend went to check on her, Miss Hensley was preoccupied with the ex. This made Mr. Jenkins' trust rocky, and when he confronted the defendant, instead of telling the truth, she tried to lie her way out.
So he went through your phone and saw you had been texting him continuously.
That probably is true, but that we were talking as friends because,
You were speaking like you had never broken up.
Well,
what did the messages say, Mr. Jenkins?
They were speaking about how I miss you and I love you and I wish I could be with you, but I'm busy right now.
That makes the plaintiff's claims of the baby mama entertaining multiple men at the same time true. After this, he told the court how Miss Hensley flirted with other men in front of him. And there was even a man whom she really wanted to be with, and the only hurdle was the alleged baby daddy. And guess what? He had screenshots for this too.
Miss Hensley, oh, he's so cute, but he knows about David with the tear eye. Was there a co-worker, Miss Hensley, that you were interested in?
Yes, and we were friends, but I made it clear to him that I had a boyfriend, and that's why I told him about that, because people were trying to get me to leave David because they saw the way that he treated me.
However, in the defendant's defense, she was acting such a way because her man didn't treat her right, and she never thought of leaving Mr. Jenkins for other guys despite his foul treatment. But the plaintiff was having a hard time believing it.
You don't believe that, Mr. Jenkins?
I don't believe it at all. They knew very well that they could see me, and they could see me watching them, and yet he would still come over there like clockwork every 2 hours for a break.
Clearly, there was no trust in this relationship anymore, so the judge skipped to the pregnancy part. Turns out baby mama hadn't been pregnant the whole 2 years they'd been together. But suddenly, when other men enter into the picture, bam, the woman gets pregnant. However, baby mama ruled all these assumptions being bogus.
Well, you had to have one
Well, my
after
doctor
was
said that
conceived.
she was pretty much a miracle baby, and I did have issues when I was pregnant with her. I wasn't supposed to get pregnant.
And that makes you emotional. I can see that. It means a lot to you that you got to have this baby.
None of the explanations coming from across the podium were convincing enough for Mr. Jenkins. The doubt part had affected his ability to both with 6 months old. He was purposely acting distant until he was sure the baby was his. The poor child was paying the price.
I don't call myself daddy in front of her. I want to be 100% sure because I don't want to raise a child that's not mine. I still care for her. I've been with her since she first was conceived.
But you admittedly are holding back.
Yes.
You really aren't giving this child the love and the care that she deserves because you have doubts.
Yes, Your Honor.
Even the judge was having a hard time comprehending the coldness. Doesn't every child deserve attention and care regardless of paternity doubts? Either be there or just move out of the picture. What's wrong with people today?
It's one thing to say I have doubts, so I'm not gonna connect myself to the child and I'm just gonna hold back. I see that a lot. It's another thing to get the result and hear for certain you are not a child's biological father. Have you prepared yourself?
Yes, Your Honor. I still plan fully to help Shania raise this child. I've just been holding back because I want to know if it's mine or not.
With all that said, we know Grim of Doubt doesn't go out that easy. It needs good DNA proof. And since there's more than one man who was supposedly involved in the paternity mix, let's see what those results hold.
In the case of Jenkins versus Hensley, when it comes to 6-month-old Asher Jenkins, it has been determined by this court, Mr. Jenkins, you are the father.
An Ohio man is denying his sweetheart because her peeps are whispering doubts into his mind. But Miss Mitchell brushed all of the claims brought forward by Mr. Robinson like this.
Did you have sex with somebody else?
I never had sex
right
with him,
after
but
he took it?
No, not at all.
So did you have sex with anyone
No,
else
I've never
during the
had-
window of conception?
No.
Who are these people telling him these stories?
I don't
then?
know.
Do you
they
know?
won't tell me, so I don't know.
So people just lying on
Yeah,
you?
it's him lying and her.
Oh, so you don't think he even ever got the message?
No.
The pretty juicy situation was almost like a Real Housewives episode. Hooking up and denying it later, rumors coming up, paternity being denied. Too much drama. But wait, as there's yet another bomb that was yet to drop.
You have the baby. Is Mr. Robinson with you?
No, but his sister was.
You sent her.
Yes, I had got arrested the night of, I'm not gonna lie, I'll be 100% honest with you, Your Honor. So I said, Eric said, will you do me a favor? She said, what? I said, will you make sure you go to the hospital for me? She said, yes, I will.
And so she went.
Yeah,
And
when she
went.
came up, she said that she tried to get Ryan to come, but Heather wouldn't let him.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
Finally, a witness shed some light on what's going on between the duo. Or maybe not, as she was too much charged with her daughter being accused of sleeping around with men.
I have proof right here that he didn't get arrested until 2 days after the baby was born.
So if he was in jail?
Well, I'm glad you're here. Where's Ryan? And she said, well, I'm trying to get a hold of him. And then I said, did you get a hold of him? And she said, no, Heather won't let him come.
So Rylan was born on May 7th, and you, Mr. Robinson, you were arrested on May 9th.
All this nonsensical behavior had Judge Lake all worked up, because she wasn't enjoying this at all. She wasn't in for them, but for the child.
Who cares? This is just getting ridiculous. If you all would have just stayed on Facebook instead of laying down in the bed with no protection, we wouldn't be here. Now, you all want to talk about Facebook all day. And I want you all to understand that beautiful
Your Honor,
little girl is what
care of
matters.
So now, it was time for the defendant's witness to speak. We really hope she will do some good. And she did, as the girlfriend told the judge how mommy wasn't letting the alleged around the baby.
I've tried being civil with Hope. Like, she had messaged me on Facebook when me and Ryan was split up, telling me that she was sorry for the way that she was acting.
yeah.
And I told her, like, regardless, we need to get along. We need to be civil. Like, I have kids, whatever. And she, like, agreed to that. But then when it all came down to it, if me and Ryan was together, that he wasn't to be a part of Rylan's life.
However, it turns out that the baby was stuck in a grown-up drama, and mom was all for revenge, whereas the defendant was not ready to put up with her antics. And with another woman in the mix, Young's child was paying the price for others' mistakes.
Your Honor, all I want to know here today
Oh.
is that if this kid is mine.
Thank goodness somebody's finally talking about Rylan. She first and foremost has a right to know and to have in her life is her mother,
But also her.
and also her father. And if that is you, you've got to figure out how to make that happen.
All of this was clearly going nowhere, so the judge got to the point at hand. With 2 months of baby care expenditure, they reached for the DNA envelope, which showed this.
In the case of Mitchell v. Robinson, when it comes to 2-month-old Rylan Mitchell, Mr. Robinson, you are the father.
Boy, you know you should have put some lotion on your mother was going to do this.
You see this baby toe? This is my child.
I see it. I've got the same problem.
Thank you.
Men's boxers in the trunk.
They wash it?
You know I'm a germaphobe. Exhibit A, men's boxers.
Miss Sanchez met her soulmate on Tinder, and in just one meeting, she knew that he was the one. The only bad part was that, initially, Mr. Turman's love was not strong enough to tie her. Fast forward, her looseness created trust issues between them.
This has gone on for 2 years of accusations and lies and the fact that he doesn't trust me. It's very hurtful, and it means a lot to me today that we prove once and for all that he's the father of my son. Put it all to bed after this.
The woman was spiritually married to the guy at the podium. Like that ever works. Because it wasn't satisfactory to keep them attached, and the defendant testified that hard in the court. According to him, Miss Sanchez can slip up for any man too easily.
I couldn't go through with it because there's too many trust issues. And I feel like if you don't have trust, you can't go forward with the relationship.
Too many doubts. Well, it had to do with the way they connected. As we mentioned before, that couple came across each other on Tinder, and both were seeing multiple people. But the alleged father stopped, whereas mommy was still on the speed dial.
We met on Tinder, and I'm swiping, and I came across her profile, and I super liked. She liked me back, we connected. So the second night is when we actually hung out. We had some drinks, one thing led to another, and we had sex the first night.
That's definitely a super swipe, super like, whatever you called it.
Super swiping landed the getting intimate right in the first time, though the plaintiff blamed it on the alcohol and lack of ground rules, leading them to the ambiguous equation where the defendant was settling for the baby mama who wasn't ready to stick to one man.
I showed my friends pictures of her because I'm hype. And so I showed them pictures and they send me a video like, yo, isn't this the girl you're talking to? She's at a bar giving somebody else her number, it looks like.
Nope.
So it just started to form like issues with trust. If she slept with me the first night that we met, she probably could have slept with him the first night.
So there goes the doubt. Grimm was eating the potential father up. What added fuel to the situation was that multiple men kept coming and telling Mr. Turman that they had slept with the girl of their dreams. Yeesh, anyone would be frustrated over that.
Did you have open when you were with Mr. Turman?
Exactly.
We were just talking. So I'm right, you was on the party line and you had stopped swiping.
Yes.
And you was on automatic swipe.
Legal limbo? Love limbo? It was a limbo indeed. However, things didn't get any better, even after them moving in together. Now and then, something would happen that would instigate Mr. Turman's doubt more, like this odd one, for instance.
Men's boxers in the trunk. Now, I know for sure these aren't mine, so.
Jerome, I don't even know if I want to see that evidence, though.
They wash it? Yeah, I'll get it.
You know I'm a germaphobe. Put it on this pen. Exhibit A, men's boxers.
Exhibit A, another suspicion bombshell, I say. How would you explain this, Gabriella? Well, in her defense, it was a laundry mishap in which she had brought some of the belongings of a male relative accidentally. And they were not just boxers, but also socks, which the defendant clearly had ignored.
One thing of boxers. There was socks in there. There was all kinds of random stuff in there.
I didn't see it.
I'm sure you didn't.
But a whole pair of men's boxer shorts is the one thing in your trunk out of all the laundry?
That's an unfortunate coincidence. But that's exactly what happened. That's it.
Boy, talk about a series of unfortunate confidence. After this, then the pregnancy part came in. Ms. Sanchez told the court how she had conceived their baby on their trip to Vegas, but the defendant testified that on that very trip, she was caught feeling another man. Another one of Destiny's freaks, I guess. FYI, there was a statement about it.
So my friend Joel back around October showed me a girl he met and was starting to talk to on Tinder back when I was in California. But like mid-October, I was at a bar or club and I saw her there talking to another guy, feeling on him. And that's the statement from your friend. And that date was what?
October 15th, and I believe that could have been the conception date.
That does look bad. Though Miss Sanchez didn't change her initial testimonies, Judge Lauren was still having difficulty with what the baby mama was saying. So she moved on to the results to end all the confusion.
You admittedly is still on Tinder, having open conversation with folks and meeting folks because you didn't think you were exclusive. You got boxers in your trunk. You aren't the father? This child isn't yours? You really just put the needle on the haystack. Mr. Turman, you are the father.
Mama Lindsay is not dumb enough that she would let her own son ruin his music career over a trifling mother and a baby who isn't his. So today, the mother is standing against her own son to set the record straight.
Tell the court about Miss Cade and your son's relation.
Nicole is a liar. She's thirsty.
Excuse me, Your Honor, that is not true.
Let me tell you.
Hold on. Miss Lindsay, tell me now, what's going on in this relationship that has you so upset?
Your Honor, before she was ever with my son, she was my daughter right here, Demetrius's best friend. So she has a history.
Whoa, so many loud accusations in one breath. Hello, woman, let the other people speak. Something was definitely up in the palooza. That's why the judge moved to the mommy in question, asking the reason behind such strong animosity.
She didn't want me to be friends with Demetrius. Whatever, that's fine, but we were still friends. I've been in love with Marvin since I was 16. She just has a problem with our whole relationship, and it has nothing to do with the baby.
Why do you think she has this issue?
I don't know.
You have no idea.
She's had a problem with me. I was nice to her in the beginning. I never done anything.
The angry grandma explained herself by saying that the young defendant was trying to rip her son from her, and that was unacceptable. Miss Lindsay never wanted her daughter to mingle with Miss Cade. Ironically, now she had her son in a paternity trap.
She had a C-section. I tried to run up in that delivery room. They called security on me because I was going to be the first one to see that baby. I love all kids.
Security on you at the hospital.
They showed did.
Running like that in the delivery room? Isn't that a little too much, madam? Well, the plaintiff claimed that her son was too naive and she was trying to protect him. But did you have to act that crazy? Maybe her extremism is what's getting the job done.
Well, shouldn't your son be the first one along with the mother?
No, because he's too naive.
Mr. Wells, do you believe the baby is yours?
I hope that the baby is mine. With everything in my heart, I hope that it's my baby.
I think he would
I've
believe
been there
it more
for the baby
if
since
she didn't
day one.
keep interjecting
Hope and
and saying
believe
no.
are two different things.
Yeah, I don't know for a fact.
Even though he was standing tall at the defendant's podium, Mr. Well wasn't sure either if he was the father, because his girlfriend herself had confessed about sleeping with someone else while they were on a break.
I believe that it's my baby and I want it to be my baby.
So when you say, I don't know for a fact.
Her hair is real slick and curly. This is the best hair today.
Good hair. I have good hair.
You don't have no good hair. You just a liar.
I got good hair.
Hold on, this can't just be about hair, can it? What else? Are there any other factors? Well, about that, turns out there was one. Wait for it. It's the toenail that gives it away. Apparently, the whole Well family has a signature toenail, which was showcased like this.
Jerome, take a close look at toes. I'm gonna stand up.
Yeah, see this stuff right here?
Boy, you know you should have put some lotion on your mother was gonna do this.
Straight up, sir. You see that? You see this baby toe? This is my child. It don't grow like everybody else.
Jerome,
it goes
do you
straight
see
up.
it?
I see it. I've got the same problem.
Thank you. Thank
Jerome,
you.
oh no!
A lot of confusion going on here. Next, the judge called in the best friend as the witness, who told about the promiscuous tendencies of the defendant, how she lists men spellbound with her love, and the baby was more likely theirs.
It doesn't
She didn't
matter
tell me
what we
until
do.
after the fact that she had unprotected sex.
So
way after
whether they were on a break or not, there's still a 50-50 chance pretty much that this child could either be your brother's or someone else.
It could be a 10% chance that it's his and 10% chance of nine other. I don't know.
Hold on now. Wait a minute now.
That's just getting ridiculous.
These people were more focused on their clash of egos than the beautiful child. I mean, why neglect a child's warmth and care just because you don't like their mother? Is that a way to act? However, the plaintiffs further had this explanation for their attitude.
Did you want to add
She ain't gonna always be your girlfriend.
Let's get some order. Miss Johnson, what would you like to
Another
add?
reason that I don't believe that this would be his is because, like I said, she lies so much. This is not the first time that she's betrayed me when it came to a man. Second time, and it's just repetitive lies and
Thank
things
you.
that she doesn't tell us until after
I
the
rest
fact.
my case. I sure do.
Nonetheless, the defendant wasn't the only one hiding the truth. It further got revealed that Mr. Wells' sister knew about the pregnancy. Still, she hid it from her brother in hopes of not losing her sibling.
This is destroying the fabric of many of your relationships because you're one with Miss Cade, your sister, and your mother.
Yeah, so I'm torn between the family and just all three of
We're
these
gonna break this up
individuals right
today,
here.
sugar.
We ain't breaking up nothing. He's
You're
gonna be
not
right
gonna
back
be
with
she
me.
just wants your money, son.
Oh boy, these people are cray-cray. They're focused on everything except the baby. It's like they can't help but to act like children themselves, hiding pregnancies, sleeping with multiple men, and showing off toenails. Let's end this charade for good.
Mr. Well,
You are her father.
Titled Double Trouble, Rajot's family came to paternity court to solve not just their paternity dispute, but also their trust issues. The only bummer was the 2-year-old daughter was paying for the friction between them.
Now, Mrs. King Rajot, tell the court why you're here today.
I'm here today to prove to my husband that our daughter Destiny is in fact his. It is tearing our family apart, pieces by pieces, because he denies her.
You heard the woman. The daddy was neglecting his youngest. It was further revealed that Mr. Rajot took care of his other children as well. And when the judge asked the plaintiff about these accusations, he brushed him off like this.
I may stay distant a little bit, due to my concerns. I treat her the same as I treat all the other children.
He's lying right now.
Tell me why you have the concern.
All of my family and her family all have brown hair and brown eyes, and this child has blonde hair and blue eyes.
The baby's looks stirred doubt in the alleged mind, while he was claiming that there was blondness on either side of the family. But baby mama added that he was a foster child, and such verdicts were based on assumptions.
So maybe somebody back in the part of his family he doesn't know could have blonde hair, could have blue eyes,
incorrect.
could have something.
Yeah, you're
That's
lying
an
about
interesting
that.
point. Mr. Rajot, how do you address that?
My dad actually had brown hair and brown eyes, and so I think it's passed on genetically to my family. It's clear to see right there that it's blonde hair and blue eyes.
He's crazy.
You're sitting here lying.
Because baby mama found the appearance argument not valid, Edward testified that he was locked up during conception time. Quite a point, but Miss Rajot nullified all of his claims as lies, because she never cheated on him.
Cheated on my husband. I've never had any sexual nothing.
That's a lie.
No,
That's a lie.
It's not a lie. You'll see when the lie detector test comes.
Mommy was rock hard confident. She knew who her baby daddy was. Nonetheless, the plaintiff pointed out the incident in which one of his friends showed a flirty text from the defendant, which was about enough to raise paternity doubt. Mommy, how do you respond to that one?
Wanted to see that he probably was doing himself. That's what he saw.
Was there a text?
No.
Yes, there was.
So,
no.
Yes, there
You
was.
never
You know
sent
there
that
was
text.
too.
No.
Yes, there was.
Interesting.
Sacramento was straight up denying any such entanglement, but the hubby pulled another incentive related to her friend. Apparently, her gal pal was famous for a random guy she met at bars, and he was sure that the mommy was also up to such antics.
So you're saying she has a friend that is a little promiscuous?
Well, I'd actually heard from the event today. I went out to a bar that night, and she had been kissing on another girl, so.
My friend was doing it. What she does is her business. What I do is my business, and he gets twisted and I tries to act like just because she wants to be a dirty, nasty hoe don't mean I have to be one.
Ooh, woman, you got that right. Still, nothing has been proven that would call for a DNA test. Let's just ask the wifey why she was opting for the lie detector test, because I'm sure the goofy husband wasn't up to any good either.
I was 6 months pregnant with our first child. I went to the doctor for a routine checkup. A few days later, I got a call from the nurse telling me I had to come in and get some antibiotics because I have an STD. And if I'm not cheating, where else did I get it from?
What did she just say? Looks like someone was just too quick to point fingers, wasn't he? And like anyone at fault, he was going off the wall about such revelations and blaming his wife for doing the same thing.
16-year relationship. If the lie detector test comes back and the DNA results come back, then I'm through. When we get home, it's over. I'm
You don't
packing
get
up
to
and getting
pick
out.
when you're through, baby boy. I say when you go,
Mr.
like I have in the
Rajot,
past.
I'm talking about you!
Yeah, none of that tough guy attitude is gonna work here, because Judge Lake can't be played that easily. Now, it was about this swindling. The moment the judge pushed that button, it got out that Mr. here was on an infidelity roller coaster, riding with a woman twice his age.
There's a possibility he has a child by this dirty, nasty little troll that he cheated on me with before.
That's not true, Your Honor. I've been with this same woman for half.
Same thing, while denying fault on their own part, Judge Lake started to get bugged.
You doing the biology, she doing the psychology. You all got a whole bunch of education going up in here. If only we could figure out how to do the marriage.
Yeah, they were happy once. In fact, they were madly in love. The couple had a cute island wedding, and very soon into their marriage, Edward started cheating on his wife. The guy had commitment issues, as he kept hitting on everyone, including his in-laws.
Mr. Rajot, are you
like I said, a dirty,
on her
nasty
family members?
Your Honor, with this situation.
What is the thing?
The thing is, I've been with the same woman since I was more than half my life, since I was 15 years old. You know, I started to get in the itch and wanted to go outside of our relationship.
So the guy got bored with being with the same woman. How can he say such things? this wasn't the only factor, as in Edward's words, Mommy's weight was also pushing him away. So, you can imagine where this was going.
A husband, you've got to understand.
You act like you're pretty or something.
You act like you
No,
perfect or
but the
something.
point is that's your wife. You're supposed to love her unconditionally.
Yeah, the keyword unconditionally, sir. The way the judge came to the cheating with the family member part? Well, turns out that Mr. Rajotte was caught getting cozy with his own sister-in-law. Ish, dirty, nasty.
She should know me better than that.
That's
through
why.
thick and
That's
thin,
why
we've
there's
always
another
been there.
situation.
Through the rough edges, we've always ended up to get out the rough edges.
You have betrayed her in other ways, but you're saying you would not betray her in that.
We get back on the rough edges because I forgive his life.
It's like their trust issues have gotten them to this point that they're doing nothing but going in circles. So, it's clear they both expect each other to go low, then lower. So there was only one solution left to settle this once and for all.
You are her father. I want to tell you both that you passed. You've never cheated on your husband. He did not sleep with any of your family members.